welcome everyone to an experience like never before. Get ready to set your heart racing with India's fastest sport. With the latest of the racing cars from around the globe, we are bringing to you Formula Regional Indian Championship. Starting off with India's first street circuit in Hyderabad, the championships will pan out at Madras Motor Racing Track in Chennai, Kari Motor Speedway, and Hood International Circuit. With the traction to go lightning fast, the racers in their cars will set ablaze Indian tarmac thanks to the state-of-the-art technology on the racing cars. Don't hold your breath anymore. Fueled by Alfa Romeo's engines as the heart of every car. Top speed, aerodynamics and the power to thrill at your will. This racing endeavor will be a one-make championship with Team PREMA. FIA certified Formula Regional Indian Championship is here and here to stay.
Points, so yeah, of course it's a motivation, but I just stay focused on what I have to do here.
Hello everybody and welcome back to the Formula Regional Asian Championship. It is going to be an absolutely sensational battle for the third and final race of this season finale. Jake Sanson here with you once again, and boy oh boy are you in for a bit of a show, because now all of the championships have been wrapped up, so this is purely for pride. Everybody wants to bow out on a positive note, and they are going to be going at it full guns blazing. The championship looks like this heading into the season finale. Arthur Leclerc is the champion. Pepe Marti in second place from Dino Beganovic, who is now up to third. Gabriele Mini trying to chase down his tally, with Isaac Ajar and Jack Crawford very close to the mix as well. We have absences from Sebastian Montoya and Hadrian David, but Paul Laurent and Lorenzo Flucher would quite like to finish with some decent points in their 15th and final races of the 2022 Formula Regional Asian Championship. In the Rookies Cup, the title winner is Pepe Marti, with Delano Van Toff managing to creep into second place. A decent result for Levente Revej could spring him above Sebastian Montoya, though it is slightly unlikely. And last night, the Masters Cup was won by Khaled Al-Kubaisi, who did a fantastic job to pick up a brilliant performance and his 8th win of the season in race 1 from Thomas Luedi and Sally Yalouch. That was enough for the Emirati to seal the deal on home soil. And in the Teams Championship, Mumbai Falcons have clinched it ahead of High Tech Grand Prix and Pinnacle Motorsport, but those two teams are still going to be battling out the spoils for the second best team in the standings, and they will try every trick in the book to make it happen. It's definitely going to be a great end to the season, and we will have a very feisty battle with the two Red Bull young guns. Despite being in different teams, they will go to battle on the front row of the starting grid together. It will be the French-Algerian Isaac Hajar that will be in pole position. After his earlier victory in the season, he will definitely want to finish things on his terms, and it's his American counterpart who is there next up in position, and that is of course Jack Crawford, who has been very strong in this second half of the season. The American, who is never short of a quick smile, always has the ability and the tenacity to run up at the sharp end, and I have no doubt at all that he will be trying his best and his utmost to get that final race victory. His first it would be of the season, but he has come mighty close a few times, and this would be a wonderful way to bow out of the championship. Gabriele Mini, who is a two-time winner now, starts up from third position on the grid for the high-tech GP squad. 4th place for the Estonian Paul Aron, who had his birthday last week. Happy 18th. Pepe Marti and Arthur Leclerc will go to battle one more time on the 3rd row of the starting grid, with Pepe on the outside and Arthur on the inside. No pressure, just finishing in fine style. Lorenzo Flusha and Dino Beganovic will be together on the 4th row of the grid. Watch out for Flusha in this one. 7th on the grid from the 3 wide by Race GP driver, and he's sure to be exciting as he bows out on the top spot as well. He's going to be a very exciting battle. To see what will happen and to see what will occur is obviously what he will try to take on alongside Dino Beganovic. And then Patrick Pasma and Pierre-Louis Chauvet, the 2 race winners from last year, who are hoping to get the job done in this final race of the season. Patrick Pasma has won a race this year. Pierre-Louis Chauvet has not quite been able to thus far, but from 10th on the grid, there's no doubting that it will be tough. Michael Belov will be 11th on the starting grid. The Russian will be beside Francesco Braschi, who is going to be there on row 6 beside him. And the very talented Frenchman, Owen Tanjevelu, has put his high-tech GP car 13th on the grid for this one. So a great performance from him in his final race of the season. Oliver Goethe, the talented Monegasque, who is in the Gulf colours for the 3 wide by Race GP team. He will be 14th on the grid. Then it'll be Ido Cohen of the Black Arts Racing team. Beside him on the starting grid will be Oliver Behrman, who had a really tricky qualifying for race 3. So it is going to be a very interesting difficulty for him to try and work his way back through the field, especially after his tangle with Paul Aron in race 2 last night. Then on 17th on the grid, it is the talented female Hamda Al-Kubaisi, who triumphed here last year in F4 UAE, is kind of hoping that she can get some decent points on the board to finish her season in the Formula Regional Asian Championship. Alongside her is the talented Russian Vladislav Lomko, who is for the Evans GP squad. And then 19th on the grid, it is the Dutchman Delano van 't Hoff. He has had a real nightmare of a qualifying session. If he wants to get his first win of the season, he's going to have to absolutely barnstorm his way through the field like scissors through wet newspaper. 20th on the grid is Nicola Maranangeli in the number 14 Evans car. Then Megatuniv, Revej, Morales, then Khaled Al-Kubaisi from Iwasaki, Amner Al-Kubaisi, and then Sally Yaluch, Thomas Luedi, and Lena Bueller, who will have to, unfortunately, start from the tail end of the grid, not where she wants to be in the slightest, but hopefully she's going to have one of her fantastic performances to charge her way through, and she should end strong. But with 30 minutes on the clock, they go around on the formation lap. And now we can talk you through, one by one, the incredible drivers that are going to be battling for the last race of the season. I can't believe it. 5 weeks of great motorsport, and now it comes down to this. Isaac Hajar and Jack Crawford will be together on the front row of the starting grid. The 2 Red Bull juniors as they battle away one more time to go to the top spot. Second row of the grid will be the Italian Gabriele Mini as he goes alongside Paul Aron, the Estonian for the Abu Dhabi Racing by PREMA team. Pepe Marti and Arthur Leclerc, the title rivals, will be 5th and 6th on the grid. Then Lorenzo Flusha of Spain and Dino Beganovic of Sweden will be on row 4. And rounding out the top 10, last year's race winners, Patrick Pasma and Pierre-Louis Chauvet. Then it is Michael Belov, who will line up 11th position on the starting grid. Beside him on row 6, it is Francesco Braschi. Then it is Owen Tanjevelu, who is on the 7th row of the starting grid alongside Oliver Goethe. And then we have Ido Cohen, the Israeli. He'll be together alongside Oliver Behrman. And then Hamda Al-Kubaisi will be 17th on the starting grid alongside Vladislav Lomko, the Russian talent. Dutchman Delano van 't Hoff is 19th on the grid, and beside him on row 10, it is Nicola Maranangeli. Sami Megatuniv making his debut this weekend, 21st on the grid alongside the Hungarian talent Leventa Revej. And then it is David Morales of the United States. He goes up alongside the newly crowned Masters Cup trophy winner Khaled Al-Kubaisi, 3-time winner of the Dubai 24 Hours. Ayato Iwasaki of Japan will line up alongside Amna Al-Kubaisi, the talented Emirati. And then it is Sally Yaluch and Thomas Luedi, the rivals and competitors in the Masters Cup, together on row 14. And at the back of the field, after times were disallowed in qualifying, Lena Bueller, the very fast Swiss lady for the 3 wide by Race GP team, will be on her own at the back. So it's definitely going to be an exciting one as the drivers are getting their tyres and brakes up to temperature. And of course, from here on out, there's no telling who's going to get what done. Don't forget that all of the tyres are going to be worn. I don't think anybody is going to have a clean set to go into this race with. Remember the tyre regulations that changed for the 2022 season, meaning that all cars have to race with 3 tyres from the entirety of the weekend. From the start of free practice, they only have 3 sets of tyres, so they have to balance when they're going to use them, when they're going to put more life into them, and tyre management and brake management in particular become the most prime objectives to get right. over the course of these races. So it's very much about who is mature, who is wise, and who is cautious. You've got to play the long game with these races. You can't just go gung-ho in the first 5 minutes and hope it's going to stick. We've seen several times drivers pushing too early, too soon, and unfortunately the car just cannot hang on to the road. So it'll be fascinating to see who does what and how well the drivers will fare, but they are now forming up into their positions. Isaac Hajar on the left of your screen, Jack Crawford on the right of your screen. Yes, the two cars are Red Bull liveried, but they are from different teams. The high-tech GP driver Isaac Hajar on the left and the Abu Dhabi Racing by PREMA driver Jack Crawford of the United States on your right. You've got Gabriele Mini in the mix there with Paul Aron, Pepe Marti, Arthur Leclerc, and then, of course, you'll have Lorenzo Flusha and Dino Beganovic, giving chase, as well as Patrick Pasma and Pierre-Louis Chauvet in the top 10. No holds barred, nothing to lose and nothing to gain. It's going to be just a flat-out race. The green flag at the back of the grid. The lights will come on when they go out. We'll race in Formula Regional Asia for the last time in 2022. Avanti! And it's a terrible start for Jack Crawford. Mini and Aron are going to have to try and come round the outside. Isaac Hajar gets a beautiful start up towards turn 1. Leclerc and Marti already side by side. Crawford's going to have to try and keep in front of Aron, but it's not going to happen. Aron is going to take it right round the outside, and he's going to go for Gabriele Mini as well. He goes wide, manages to get back on the road, and he's got through. Now, that's a little bit cheeky. Arthur Leclerc is going to slot into 5th position behind Jack Crawford, and as they work their way through the chicane, Marti already had a wheel on the inside rear quarter, trying to get the move on the inside line. And as they go under the W Hotel for the first time, everybody just trying to sort themselves out. Oliver Behrman in the mix there with a couple of his rivals as they try to tighten their way through the first few corners of the lap, and Gabriele Mini skids out wide as well. So both drivers in the mix there battling away, and Paul Aron's going side by side, and a spin for Arthur Leclerc. That's the only mistake he has made all season long. My goodness. Well, he may as well make the mistake in the final race of the year when the championship's already won. But Arthur Leclerc has dropped it on the run to the home straight of the Grand Prix layout. My goodness. That's the only time all year I have ever seen him put a foot wrong. Well, from his point of view, he can laugh it off, smile, and go, oh well, c'est la vie. Down to the hairpin. And still they battle. Paul Aron getting it wrong on the brakes there. He's going to have pressure from Mini and Crawford on the way up, as Pepe Marti has now got company. Patrick Pasma, I think that is, trying to line him up as they come down the back straight. So this is a perfect opportunity for Isaac Hajar. He has one win under his belt, but he would quite like another one. Aron, Mini and Crawford giving chase, then Marti. That is Patrick Pasma, I believe, next up. And then it is Dino Beganovic, the dynamite man himself, Dynamite Dino. And there's Oliver Behrman making up big progress on the first lap. He really has made it light work. Now, where's Arthur Leclerc? Oh, there he is. Oh, there's spin. That's Oliver Goethe. Oliver Goethe's lost it in the chicane. So Oliver Goethe is now facing the wrong way. So I'm afraid that is his race very much come to a stop for the moment. And we're 3 wide a little further up. This is Pierre-Louis Chauvet battling away with Francesco Braschi, Oliver Behrman, and one of the Blackhearts cars. I think that is, that's the Pinnacle of Delano Vantoff, and 2 of them run out wide. That's going to be tricky on the exit. 3 wide. Oliver Behrman's been in this situation before. This time he will not be intimidated. He runs right round the outside, gets the place, hooks it up, and parks it nicely on the apex. And there's spin further back. That's one of the 3Y race cars getting into the way of an Abu Dhabi by PREMA and spinning around. Didn't see who that was, unfortunately. Oh, and another spin. My goodness, they're all over the shop at the moment as Amna Al-Kubaisi spins right in the path of the field, but manages to move the car off the racing line. Now, hopefully, she can get the car started again and move it out of its current position, but that is a very precarious place to be. If she can't get that move, then we are going to have to go safety car. But that is a rather precarious position. So, my goodness, end-of-term jitters for everybody by the look of it, as Isaac Hajar is out in front, Paul Aron second, then Mini. And here comes Jack Crawford trying to get his way through on the inside. It's not going to happen. Then Marti, Pasma, Beganovic, Flusha, Belov, Chauvet, Tangevelu, and Oliver Behrman. As side by side, that is Owen Tangevelu having a little bit of a mix-up there with Michael Belov. They run side by side down the straight. Isaac Hajar is in paradise at the moment, out in front, locks up the brakes. That won't help it at all. He may be leading at this moment with a bit of a gap, but if you keep locking up the brakes, the tyres are going to wear very quickly indeed, as Oliver Behrman tries to hold off the attentions of Pierre-Louis Chauvet, and he's through. Nice move. That was beautifully executed. Safety car, safety car. I did wonder if that was going to happen. Now, the question is, did Oliver Behrman complete that move? before the safety car boards came out. That's going to be one for the officials to have a look at. But certainly that was cutting it pretty fine, to say the very least. But safety car is out. And Isaac Hajar, who has the lap record here now after his brilliant run last night in the cooler conditions. Well, Amna Al-Kubaisi has done her best there. She's tried to get the car further off the road. Or actually, is that Khaled Al-Kubaisi? I couldn't quite make out which one it was. I think it's Khaled, actually. I think it's the Master Cup winner of the season, who's dropped it under the W Hotel, a building he will know very well, of course. He's stayed there many, many times. But unfortunately, oh no, I do apologise. It is Amna Al-Kubaisi. I was right the first time. Khaled Al-Kubaisi has dropped back, though, after a spin of his own. That was just 2 corners before, actually, as well. So all sorts of flotsam and jetsam in the opening couple of laps. But it is Amna Al-Kubaisi whose car is parked on the inside there of a corner that is quickly becoming known on social media as the Latifi corner. But obviously, that is the second apex in the W Hotel complex. So a very tricky part of the circuit to go off on. Unfortunately, she is out of harm's way. I'm fairly sure she's out of the car as well now. But she's parked it relatively close to the marshal post, so that should make the clean-up job fairly quick. But the marshals have obviously got to wait for an opportunity, a gap in the traffic, and wait for everybody to go by. Now they can get to the car. Well done to the Orange Army. We cannot race without them. They are the heroes of the story. You can bang on and on about racing drivers and race teams till the cows come home, but without these men and women, we are nothing. So a massive thank you to them. They are going to work. It's quite hard to move these cars as well. People will have a go at them for not moving the cars fast enough, but they are stiff. They are not the easiest cars to move, the Formula Regional Asia cars, because their steering is very heavy indeed. It's not like an F4 car or an F3 car even, where it's quite light and nimble by comparison. These are quite stiff to maneuver. So the team going to work there. We may go around for a second time because technically the car is still on a dangerous part of the circuit, so the safety car driver may get another lap in at the lead of the race. But it's Isaac Hajar. Now this is a worry for Isaac Hajar. Why? Because, well, he's been behind the safety car in the top 3 before and the car was conked out on him. It happened a couple of weeks ago at the Dubai Autodrome. He was happy as Larry, getting himself ready for the restart, and the car decided, nope, you're not going to have this result, mate, and he parked it on the way to the first corner. So hopefully history will not repeat itself. But we are under safety car conditions here. About 23 minutes and 18 seconds left of racing still to go. And this is definitely going to be quite tough for all of the drivers to negotiate. But to be fair, considering some of the incidents we've had over the course of the weekend, we haven't had long safety car periods. And I have to say, considering where Amna Al-Kubaisi's position currently is on the circuit, I don't think it'll take a massive amount of time to move it. But obviously, when you go into another lap, you have to make sure that the circuit is fully green, even if it's a couple of seconds before they come across the start-finish line. You can't take that risk, especially when you're playing with people's lives. You have to be very, very careful. You have to make sure that the circuit is completely clear. And if that means you do another lap, you do another lap. No arguments. What a beautiful setting this place really is. It's been the first and last round of this championship of 2022. And there is something quite special about the Marina circuit. It's quite spectacular. It cost $1.2 billion US to build. And its recent refurbishment and a few changes to a few parts of the layout really have made this place even more spectacular than it was in the first place. There's a lot more wheel-to-wheel race action. There's a lot more urgency in some of these apexes as well. And it makes for fantastic racing. It was good last year here. We had a combination of the Grand Prix layout and the corkscrew layout, which basically drops out of the upcoming right-hand sweeper and then goes skewed left, and then you drop down a reverse Laguna Seca corkscrew, hence why it's called the corkscrew layout, and then halfway up the back straight. It's a pretty awesome layout last year. We didn't get to use it this time, unfortunately. But the future is still very, very interesting. We'll see what happens, and obviously there are already eyes starting to think about Formula Regional Asia 2023. There are going to be a few drivers in F4 who have been eyeing it up over the course of this weekend and think, right, next year, that's going to be me. So they come out of the hairpin onto the back straight. We will watch for the lights on the safety car. If they go out, then we are going to be racing this lap around. But for Isaac Hajar, he's just got to go through his period. There we go. Safety car lights are out. Safety car lights are out, and we are going to be racing this time. So Isaac Ajar slows the field up, backs them a lot earlier than Pierre-Louis Chauvet did in race 2 yesterday. But the field is still going to stack up. This is all going to be timed on Isaac Ajar, what he does on the restart. Still weaving. When he drops the hammer and puts pedal to metal, then he is going to be charging forward for the first corner. Now he's gone for it by the look of it, so the safety car comes in. And now Isaac Ajar's looking for a good exit out of the chicane. That'll do nicely. That is a good restart from the Franco-Algerian. And Gabriele Mini is going to have to go for it. Across the line we go. Green, 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 green. And we are racing once again. So Isaac Ajar from Gabriele Mini. Paul Aron, Crawford, Marti, Pasma, Beganovic, Flusha, Belov and Chauvet. So unusual not to see Arthur Leclerc in the top 10. He hasn't finished outside the top 10 once all season. So now we're going to get to see what the battle is going to look like without Arthur Leclerc at the front end of the field for once. A little bit of a puff of smoke from the brakes for Isaac Ajar. Gabriele Mini's very close. We saw how well he did in race 2 yesterday. Fought his way into a winning position. He's going to want to do it again here. So Gabriele Mini definitely looking to bow out of Formula Regional Asia 2022 on a high note. There is Owen Tanjavelu, the Frenchman. Still trying to make good progress. He's currently tucked up behind his countryman, Sami Megatunif. And you can see just how hard they are pushing it on the restart. So Isaac Ajar has got Gabriele Mini bearing down on him. Paul Aron is in 3rd. 4th is Jack Crawford. And Pepe Marti running in 5th position. That is Dino Beganovic going wheel to wheel with Lorenzo Flusha. Flusha really wants a piece of him. These two used to race against each other in the World Karting Championships. And here they are again in Formula Regional Asia. What goes around comes around in the world of motorsport. Whoops, Oliver Behrman going right off the road and managing to recover, but he has to slot in behind Michael Belov, having managed to get his move on Pierre-Louis Chauvet. And that is Marti just trying to defend from Patrick Pasma. Pasma is a big threat here. Don't forget, he won a couple of races last year. There's a big run wide out of the hairpin. One of the Blackhearts cars appears to have pulled off the road initially. Now, whether they're still going or not, I'm not sure, but we'll have to pick that up. So certainly a bit of a moment as down into the braking zone for the chicane. No overtaking move from Patrick Pasma just yet. He has a think about the move on Pepe Marti. Oh, a big slide there from Owen Tanjavelu as he goes wheel to wheel with Sami Megatunif. But it looked to me as though Megatunif held on to the position for the time being, and now he's under threat of losing it to the Hungarian Levente Ravej. Down towards turn 1 once again. Lap 6. So the battle is definitely still joined. Ido Cohen is the man who's dropped a long way down the order. Chauvet's dropped to 11th, I notice, but Cohen has fallen to 18th as well. And even Sally Aluch has dropped back to 25th. Not a great lap for the Blackhearts team. So through they come again, and look at Isaac Ajar. He's really starting to spit exhaust fumes as they go under the W Hotel once again through the second left-hander. A much faster apex nowadays. And then into these next two right-handers. Just got to time it right. Try not to use too much curb. Little bit of puff of smoke from the car behind. That is Paul Aron just lighting up the brakes a little bit. Well, we are getting close to the half-distance point of this final race of the season. And it's been a momentous journey. We've had some incredible races over the course of the year. And it's been pretty iconic as a season battle. We've had some great race winners through the course of the year. Sebastian Montoya, Gabriel Bortoletto and Gabriele Mini in round 1. Then Hadrian David twice and Arthur Leclerc for his first win of the season. Behrman runs wide again. You've got to be careful there, Oliver. That really is flirting with track limits, and with Eduardo Freitas in race control, you don't want to do that too many times. Whoops! He's not the only one. Couple of drivers just running the gauntlet a little bit there. Safety car, safety car. There's the safety car board again. Oh, and that's why. That is a big into the wall. And that's from Khaled El-Kubaisi. So that is the other member of the family. Daughter was there earlier. Father is there now. That is very unfortunate indeed. So that is Khaled El-Kubaisi's title-winning season in the Masters Cup. Now over, I'm afraid. I don't know how he's ended up in the barriers there, but he certainly has. And we're safety car again. So that's two members of the family in the same place, I'm afraid. Hopefully it's not going to be a running theme, but certainly not where Khaled El-Kubaisi wanted to end his fabulous 2022 Formula Regional Asian Championship season campaign. He is fine. He's getting out of the car. That's the main thing. Now, hopefully, that barrier isn't going to need too much of a repair, because I know for a fact that that circuit, that particular part of the course, is a little bit awkward to sort out in various different positions. So you've got to be very careful. But obviously, that is not where he wanted his season to end. So a bit of a problem there, and that's for sure. So now we need to try and figure out what is going to happen as a result of this. The safety car is out. Khaled Al-Kubaisi extracts himself and climbs over the wall. But that car is wedged in. That's the problem. There you go. There's the signal. We need the extraction crane. We need the extraction cable. We need to lift it up. We can't just move it out. So the signal's come through. The drivers are told, move to the inside line. Well done to the marshals, doing exactly what they're supposed to do. Unfortunate, but the car is buried in a rather nasty place. So there's a bit of a tricky situation there playing out. So the race will continue once we get restarted, but unfortunately that is a little bit of an awkward position for a car to be left in, and that's going to be in there for a while without the extraction crane. So hopefully that will get done fairly quickly. So let's talk you through the running order at this point. Isaac Hajar is still your leader. Gabriele Mini in second place. Then Paul Aron in front of Jack Crawford. Pepe Marti is in fifth place from Patrick Pasma and Dino Boganovic. Then Lorenzo Flusha in front of Michael Belov. Oliver Behrman is in P10, so looking for points on his last race. Pierre-Louis Chauvet in 11th position from Delano Vanthoff and Sami Megatuniv. Owen Tangevelu and Levento Ravej. Nicola Marinangeli and David Morales. Then Ido Cohen and Arthur Leclerc, who has worked his way up through the field now to 19th place. Then it is Ayato Iwasaki, Francesco Braschi is next up, then Oliver Goethe, Thomas Luedi, Sally Yalouch, and Hamda Al-Kubaisi, who seems to have dropped down to the back of the field. Vladislav Lomko has dropped back as well, and Lena Bueller has had to make a pit stop. So unfortunately, it doesn't look as though the Swiss driver is going to score points in this championship after all, despite how close she came to the mark yesterday. So very frustrating, I'm sure, but obviously not the end to the season wanted. There is the extraction crane. So obviously now we're going to get to see what will occur in this. Now obviously that car is wedged in about 14 to 15 inches in, I would say. So obviously the extraction crane going to have to go to work, but well done to the Orange Army for getting it sorted as soon as is humanly possible. So once again, Isaac Hajar has to control the pace and the rhythm of the field. An incredible team of men and women. They come from all over, not just from here in the United Arab Emirates. And obviously our race director, Eduardo Freitas, keeping us very much abreast of what's going on around the circuit. We wish him well in his new appointment. This is going to be his last race as the race director of Formula Regional Asia before he moves on to Formula One. So good luck to him, and he'll meet up with a good friend, Guan Yu Zhou, who of course was last year's champion. This year's champion, Arthur Leclerc, has worked his way up into 19th position now. So as the field is still under safety car conditions, that's the difficulty. It's an awkward position to put the car in, and it's gone quite a way in, actually. So fair play to the marshals. They're not having the easiest time of getting that car out of harm's way. So hopefully it is going to be a fairly simple job, but it's not quite as easy as just saying, well, surely they can just get it out and off we go racing again. If only everything in life was so simple. But it's a very tough job there. That car is wedged. So everybody down there is doing its best, doing their best to get the car out, but it is rather wedged in. Well, time to look over what has been the story of the season so far. We started initially at Yas Marina, Sebastian Montoya, Gabriel Bortoleto and Gabriele Mini picking up the 3 race wins over the course of the weekend. Hadrian David picked up races 1 and 3 at the Dubai Autodrome on the international circuit, and it was Arthur Leclerc who became the 5th different race winner in as many races in race 2. Then the Dubai Autodrome again a week later on the Grand Prix circuit was divided and conquered by the Mumbai Falcons India racing team. Sebastian Montoya winning race 1, Dino Boganovic winning race 2, and Arthur Leclerc winning race 3. An absolutely incredible run of all 3 races. It was fairly spectacular to see how it all played out, but it was truly sensational, and a fascinating battle was had by all, and a great duel. So now all of the competitors will obviously be in a decent position. Look how much damage has been done by going in. That's completely ripped the front wheel off the push rods. So there was no chance of extricating that one easily, but well done to the crew. They've done it very speedily by comparison to some of the other incidents we've seen elsewhere. It's not been easy, but they've managed to get that one done relatively quickly by all accounts. After the Mumbai Falcons trio got their race victories at the Dubai Autodrome Grand Prix circuit at round 3, it was quite tough for everybody else, but we had 3 different race teams on the top step of the podium in round 4. Isaac Ajar picked up the win for High Tech Grand Prix in race 1. Patrick Pasma gave the Australian Evans GP team their first win of the season in race 2. And then Arthur Leclerc managed to get the job done again in race 3 before the first 2 races of the weekend. Arthur Leclerc picking up the first win and the championship title with it. And Gabriele Mini picking up a crazy race win last night. Was fantastic to watch. And I can tell you now that with his 4th place finish last night, Pepe Marti has secured 2nd place in the Drivers' Championship. But for Dino Beganovic and Gabriele Mini, it's up to them to try and secure 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. Now, the gap between them in terms of points is 12, with Isaac Ajar a further 3 back. So he's 15 points back, with 25 points available from this race. So those 3 are locked in the battle for 3rd in the Drivers' Championship. And it could go either way, actually. It's not really clear-cut as to who's going to get the job done, because Dino Beganovic is looking at 6 points, Gabriele Mini is looking at 18 points, and Isaac Ajar is looking at 25. But the way this race could play out in the closing stages, well, it's anyone's guess. So it's definitely going to be very interesting to see how things continue, but we're not going to have it terribly easy, that's for sure. Question is, on this occasion, are we going to go racing again, because the car has been moved, but is the barrier back to its regular configuration? Because if it is, then we can go racing this time. Let's watch the lights on the safety car on the back straight. They're out. Here we go. We're going to go racing again this time. So with 9 minutes of racing to the end of the season, it is going to be an absolute barnstormer. Safety car peels off. Isaac Ajar backs up the field, tries to generate a little bit more tyre temperature. But it's up to him when we go racing again. Just trying to thwart Gabriele Mini. Mini's very close to him. Got to time this right, Isaac. Gabriele Mini's all over you, and now he's going to go for it. But the field is well bunched. This is going to be fast on the restart. And out in front, Isaac Ajar has got the drop. So away we go. Green, 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 green. 8.5 minutes on the clock. Let's see what happens. Gabriele Mini still hunting down Isaac Ajar. Jack Crawford very close to Paul Aron on this occasion, as they work their way through the hairpin. Aron is still comfortable in 3rd position for the moment, but Jack Crawford is starting to breathe down his neck as they come into the next 2 right-hand sweepers before the first big stop, the first big braking point on the circuit. Try not to lock it. Nicely planted from Jack Crawford, just getting close enough to Paul Aron to be a threat, but not one to be an instigator of an incident. Out of the W Hotel. And then they come back under the bridge, in through these pair of right-handers. Isaac Ajar looking good, but he's wobbling a little bit. You can see he's feeling the pressure. And onto the main straight of the Grand Prix layout. It's going to be very exciting to see what happens for the rest of this race, because they are not going to have a lot of time. They will have been able to look after the tyres a little bit under the safety car as well, so they should have a little bit more confidence in the car. They can push it a little bit harder, they can take a few risks, and they can end on a high note. Ajar, Mini, Aron, Crawford, Marti, Pasma, Beganovic, Flusha, Beloff and Behrman. Those are the top 10 drivers at the moment. Chauvet is next up in 11th, then Bantov, Vergatunev, Tangevelu, Revej, Maranangeli, Morales, Cohen and Arthur Leclerc. After his spin on the opening lap, dropping into the back of the field, he's just trying to have some fun and overtake some cars to end the season his way. We just about made him out in the background there, about 18th place, I think. So Isaac Ajar trying to break the toe a little bit. Doesn't need to panic yet. Certainly not action stations with an incredible intensity of urgency at the moment. But with Amner Al-Kubaisi, Lena Buehler and Khaled Al-Kubaisi out of the race, there are just 26 cars remaining of the 29 that started. And they all want to end in fine form. Across the line. There's the battle. Time left, 6 minutes 39. You can see it on the clock yourself. And still, there is a nice little battle brewing. All the drivers will be wanting a nice piece of the action in their final race, and this is going to be close between these 3. This is Vantov, Chauvet and Megatunev. Chauvet trying not to fall into the clutches of Sami Megatunev as he comes through. But Delano Vantov has made light work of him and made the move for P11. Down to the chicane. And Megatunif is not quite close enough yet to do anything about Pierre-Louis Chauvet, who's really struggled. There goes Leclerc, picking up another move or two. I think that's put him into 17th place past David Morales. As further up, Behrman's having to go the long way round to take on Michael Beloff. Don't tell me he made that stick. He did! My goodness, what a move. Nobody goes around the outside into the right-hander there. And somehow Behrman was able to put Beloff under pressure, overcook it, and he tried to defend the inside line, but Behrman had him licked. My goodness, that is one heck of a move from Oliver Behrman. It's a shame he didn't really get to show his plaudits from the start of the season. He only got to do the final 2 rounds. It was Sebastian Montoya who did the opening 3. But Oliver Behrman showing that last year he really was the king of F4. He was the Italian and German champion in the same year. Oh, big lockup from Oliver Behrman this time, though. And he just about manages to park the car on the apex before Michael Beloff gets the inside line and takes it away from him. Down they go again. Hajar, Mini, Aron, Crawford. They've got a bit of a gap between themselves and Pepe Marti. Here comes Michael Beloff. Don't you push me around. I'm going to make the move on the inside line. Thank you very much. Oliver Behrman's got to concede, got to go long on the brakes to try and hold it round the outside. But there's nothing he can do. He has to let Michael Beloff go and now try and get the switcheroo on the switchback. Down the main straight they come. He's going to have the slipstream. He goes right. That's where Beloff sends him. Beloff doesn't squeeze him. Just lets him have the room. Now he's got to be very careful. Now he's starting to close the door. Closing, closing, closing. So Behrman tucks back in, hoping to get the move back on the inside line for the next part of the hairpin. He nearly gets alongside. And Michael Beloff firmly slams the door in his face. Don't think so, sunshine. Down to the latter part of the first sector. Big front. That was a big mistake for Lorenzo Flusha. He locked up tyres big time there. Not a driver you tend to see making mistakes in Formula Regional Asia European programme. But it's been Mr. Consistency, Arthur Leclerc, that's been the man on song. And here he comes again, trying to make his bid on Nicola Marinangeli, whilst also having a problem of his own to deal with. The champion is battling away, and Marinangeli goes right off the circuit. Thank you very much. I'll take that, says Arthur Leclerc. And fights his way back into 16th position. Adios, amigos. I'm going to disappear. Thank you. Down the hill again. And now we're going to get to see what Ido Cohen can make of Nicola Marinangeli. Is he going to be there on the inside? He is indeed. Marinangeli actually leaves the door open for his teammate to get in there. David Morales has a chance now of making a move. And tucking up behind them, that is Oliver Goethe, I think, trying to make his impression on this race. Track limits for the 14. Nicola Marinangeli, first warning. That's not a particular surprise. But Isaac Hajar has got the advantage he wants. It's actually Mini who's falling into the clutches of Aron and Crawford, unable to keep pace with the Franco-Algerian up front. So the high-tech GP driver is leading with 2 laps to go. There's not going to be time for a third, so Crawford is hunting down Aron. He was trying to pick out where he was going to go there. Did he go left, did he go right, or did he stick? And he decided to stick. So now he's got to try and hunt down Paul Aron and wait for a little manoeuvre or two elsewhere on the lap. But we are in the closing stages of the season, and clearly Pepe Marti decided to go for broke. Missed his braking point, now gets back on the road alongside Pasma. Pasma gets through. What on earth happened there for Pepe Marti? I wonder if he's having brake issues, because he just missed the braking point by a country mile. And that's unlike Pepe Marti. He may be one of the youngest men on the field, 16 years of age, the Spaniard, and he is second in the championship, confirmed. Now, this is interesting. We've got an investigation. Arthur Leclerc and Nicola Marinangeli at turn 16. Incident under investigation. That's interesting. Not entirely sure what that's about. I didn't see anything untoward between the two, but certainly Eduardo Freitas has a much steelier pair of eyes than I do. So they're looking into it. And down the hill one more time with feeling. Isaac Hajar, though, is looking strong and looking pretty comfortable as the drivers in the midfield are still trying to end the season in the best style possible. But Hajar looks like he's got this on a plate. He just has to take it nice and safe on this last lap and a half. Having those 2 safety car periods have definitely helped him because he doesn't have to push the car too hard. Here comes Arthur Leclerc. He's going to make his bid on Owen Tanjavelu. And Dina Beganovic is now going side by side with Pepe Marti. That's important. That's going to give the Swede a few more points, which could help him seal 3rd position in the Drivers' Championship. Oh, and a big off up in front. That's Beloff. No, it isn't. It's Pasma. Pasma in trouble. I was right the first time, it was Belov. So Pasma is still there in front of them, and still Beganovic is battling away with Pepe Marti. Marti gets back in round the outside, takes the place back, drifts out wide. Beganovic on the inside, they're on the last lap. So they are going to duel away, but Marti is going to hold this in front of Dino Beganovic, with Lorenzo Flusha close in behind them, trying to make his own bid. So Marti, having got past Beganovic, is now going to go for this again to try and see if he can get well clear and put a bit of an impression on Patrick Pasma. Gabriele Mini sets the fastest lap of the race, by the way, at 1:51.9, just in case there's a big mistake. Oh, and there is a big mistake, but it's not from Isaac Hajar, it's from Jack Crawford, the other Red Bull-coloured car. But he manages to catch it. Somehow the American stays in 4th position. But Isaac Hajar, the very talented Franco-Algerian, is about to secure his 2nd win of the season. He won last time out at Dubai. He didn't get the chance to win in earlier races. His championship was coloured by misfortune. Yesterday's race notwithstanding either. So it is going to be a victory if he can just hold on. Gabriele Mini hasn't given up hope yet. There's an incident between Oliver Behrman and Michael Belov under investigation as well, but that will happen after the race, I'm sure, as down the back straight for the final time. Isaac Hajar only has to hit the brake pedal at exactly the right pressure one final time, and he will win the last race of the 2022 Formula Regional Asian Championship here at the Yas Marina circuit. He comes into the chicane for the last time. He has led every lap, and now he will be victorious. You're only ever as good as your last race, and in the last race of the season, it is a win for Isaac Hajar. He gets the victory. Fantastic. 2nd for Gabriele Mini, 3rd for Paul Aron, and that'll do nicely. What a great end to the season. Crawford is 4th from Pasma, Marti, Beganovic, Flusha, Belov and Chauvet. And for the first time all season long,
keep your eyes out on Mumbai Falcon.
Some interesting stuff coming up. Look forward to racing to the future.